Renal blood flow is about 1200 ml per minute or 22% of cardiac output. Renal blood vessels. Renal arteries, they are branches of abdominal aorta. They enter through renal sinus in the kidney. These renal arteries, they divide into segmental arteries. Here you can see in this diagram. These are renal arteries. You can see they enter through renal sinus. These segmental arteries, they subdivide into interlobar arteries. You can see here. Now, you can see in the diagram, interlobar arteries, they pass in between medullary pyramids. You can see here. These are medullary pyramids, and in between you have interlobar arteries. Now, at the base of pyramid, this interlobar arteries, they form arcuate arteries. You can see here. This arcuate artery passes between cortex and medulla, and from arcuate artery, interlobular arteries, they arise. You can see here in this diagram. These interlobular arteries, they run towards surface and they give straight branches. From interlobular artery, afferent arterioles, they arise. These afferent arterioles, they divide into capillaries, and this capillary loop unite to form efferent arterioles. Afferent arterioles are the major sites for renal autoregulatory mechanisms. These afferent arterioles, they divide into tuft of anastomosing capillaries. They are known as glomerulus, and this capillary loop unite to form efferent arterioles. Diameter of afferent arteriole is more than efferent arterioles, and therefore glomerular capillaries, they exhibit high pressure than other capillary bed. You can see here diameter of afferent and efferent arteriole. You can see here diameter of afferent arteriole is more than efferent arterioles. Now, efferent arterioles, they form a second capillary network which is surrounding tubular portion of the nephron, that is known as peritubular capillary network. Here you can see this is peritubular capillary network. This peritubular capillary network supplies the tubular portion of cortical nephron. The tubular portion of juxtamedullary nephron is supplied by vasa recta. Now we discuss about renal circulation. Renal circulation is a portal system having two sets of capillaries. Now, glomerular capillaries. Afferent arterioles, they arise from interlobular arteries. These interlobular arteries, they divide into a bunch of capillaries that is known as glomerulus. Glomerular capillaries, they are the only capillaries in the body which drains into arterioles, that is efferent arterioles. Now, peritubular capillaries or vasa recta. These glomerular capillaries, they drain into peritubular capillaries. As we have discussed, efferent arterioles, they further divide into other capillary network, that is peritubular capillaries. And if the nephron is juxtamedullary nephron, that is vasa recta. And this peritubular capillaries or vasa recta, they drain into venous system. Now, arrangement of renal veins. The pattern of arrangement of renal veins, it is similar to the end arterial system. There is presence of multiple anastomosis between veins. From vasa recta or peritubular capillaries, there is interlobular vein arise, then it forms arcuate vein, then interlobar veins, segmental vein and renal vein. You can see here, this diagram shows the whole renal circulation. You can see here abdominal aorta gives rise to renal artery, which is divided into segmental artery, then interlobar artery, arcuate artery, interlobular artery, from which afferent arterioles, they arise, they form glomerular capillary, efferent arterioles, that is next arteriole, which is further divided into peritubular capillary and vasa recta if the nephron is juxtamedullary, and from which peritubular veins, they form interlobular vein, then from which arcuate vein arises, then interlobar vein, segmental vein, renal vein, and which drains into inferior vena cava. Characteristic of renal blood flow. As we have discussed, under basal condition, renal blood flow is about 1200 ml per minute or 22% of cardiac output. Kidneys, they are the second organ to receive highest blood flow. What is the significance of highest blood flow? That is required for the function, filtration, reabsorption and secretion. Blood flow to the kidney is directly proportional to the pressure difference between renal artery and renal vein, and it is inversely proportional to the resistance. Now, surface area of the renal capillaries, that is equal to total surface area of the tubule. You can see in the diagram. Volume of the blood present in the renal capillaries at any given time is about 30 to 40 ml. Renal blood flow and oxygen consumption. As we have discussed, kidneys, they are the second organ to receive highest blood flow. Now, arteriovenous oxygen difference is very low. You can see here arterial oxygen content of kidney, that is 19 ml per deciliter, and venous oxygen content is only 17.5 ml per deciliter. So you can say arteriovenous oxygen difference is only 1.5 ml per deciliter. Now, oxygen consumption. Oxygen consumption of kidney, that is 18 to 20 ml per minute, or you can say 6 ml per 100 gram of tissue per minute. This oxygen consumption is directly proportional to the renal blood flow. What does it mean? As the renal blood flow increases, oxygen consumption increases. Now, one of the unique feature of kidney is whenever there is massive alteration in the blood flow, in spite of massive alteration in the blood flow, there is no change in the arteriovenous oxygen difference. Now here, what is the reason why there is no change in the arteriovenous oxygen difference? Because as we have discussed, with increase in the renal blood flow, oxygen consumption increases. So renal blood flow increases, oxygen consumption increases, and therefore there is minute change or no change in the arteriovenous oxygen difference. Major renal blood flow is given to the cortex, that is 90 to 92% of total renal blood flow. Outer medulla gets 7 to 8% of the total renal blood flow, and inner medulla gets only 1 to 2% of renal blood flow. Now, what are the reasons for getting low blood flow to the inner medulla? First reason, that is because of long length of vasa recta. Vasa recta length is about 40 times than the length of ideal systemic capillaries, and with increase in the length, resistance increases. Second, viscosity of the blood near hairpin bend increases, and that is due to high interstitial osmotic pressure. Third cause, that is because diameter of efferent arterioles is less than afferent arterioles, low hydrostatic pressure head is given. Now we discuss about regulation of renal blood flow. There are three mechanisms for regulation. One, that is autoregulation, second is nervous regulation, and third, that is hormonal regulation. Starting with autoregulation. Autoregulation means intrinsic ability of an organ to regulate its own blood flow, and it is present in vital organs like brain, kidneys and heart. Renal blood flow is autoregulated till the mean blood pressure is between 80 to 170 mm of mercury. Mechanism of autoregulation. Autoregulation observed after denervation. There are two mechanisms, one that is myogenic response and second that is tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. Myogenic response. What happens here? When blood flow increases, renal arterial pressure increases, and because of increase in the renal arterial pressure, stretching of elastic wall of the afferent arteriole, that increases flow of calcium ions, and this calcium ions, they cause contraction of smooth muscles in the afferent arteriole and increases vascular resistance, so blood flow decreases. Tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. With increased renal arterial pressure, GFR increases and increased sodium chloride concentration in the tubular fluid, and this is sensed by macula densa cells. When macula densa cells, sodium chloride concentration increases, there is increased sodium potassium ATPase activity, and that results in increased ATP hydrolysis, and because of hydrolysis of ATP, there is formation of adenosine. This adenosine acts through adenosine A1 receptors on the macula densa cells, and they increase release of calcium ions, and this calcium ions, they cause constriction of afferent arterioles, and therefore GFR decreases. You can see here in this diagram, macula densa cells, they release calcium, and because of that, constriction of afferent arterioles. What is the physiological significance of autoregulation? Due to autoregulation, as renal blood flow changes, GFR doesn't change much, because small changes in GFR results in great changes in the urine output. An effective mechanism for uncoupling renal functions from fluctuation in the arterial pressure, and by which it maintains fluid and electrolyte balance. Next is nervous regulation. Kidneys are supplied by sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve. Parasympathetic, that is by vagus nerve, their functions are not much clear. Now, sympathetic nerve supply. Afferent and efferent arterioles, they are innervated by sympathetic nerve fibers. They are from T10 to L2. Fibers, they arise from intermediolateral gray segments of the spinal cord through splanchnic nerve. At rest, there is mild to moderate stimulation of sympathetic nerves, and sympathetic discharge is low, and which has mild effect on the renal blood flow because it is regulated by autoregulation. But when sympathetic discharge is moderate to severe, effects are mediated by alpha 1 and alpha 2 adrenergic receptors, and that results in constriction of afferent arterioles mainly, and there is decrease in the renal blood flow and GFR. And strong sympathetic stimulation results in constriction of afferent and efferent arterioles, and there is marked decrease in the renal blood flow. Sympathetic stimulation also increases renin secretion from JG cell, and it increases reabsorption of sodium and water from renal tubules. Now, various factors affecting renal blood flow. First, there is renal arterial pressure. When the renal arterial pressure increases, there is reflex decrease in the sympathetic tone, and that results in renal arteriolar dilatation, so blood flow increases. Second is posture. When posture changes, there is fall in the blood pressure, and this fall in the blood pressure stimulates baroreceptors, and baroreceptors, they increase sympathetic activity, so renal blood flow decreases. Third is exercise. Increase the sympathetic activity because of exercise. There is marked release of norepinephrine as well as angiotensin 2. Both they cause vasoconstriction and renal blood flow decreases. Angiotensin 2, in low concentration it causes constriction of efferent arterioles, but in high concentration it causes constriction of afferent and efferent arterioles and renal blood flow decreases. Catecholamines. Norepinephrine causes constriction of renal vessels, mainly interlobular arteries, afferent and efferent arterioles. Dopamine causes renal vasodilatation. Prostaglandins E2 and I2, they cause dilatation of afferent and efferent arterioles. Hemorrhage causes release of catecholamines and angiotensin 2 and decrease in the renal blood flow. Acetylcholine causes renal vasodilatation and increase in the renal blood flow. High protein diet increases glomerular capillary pressure and therefore increase in the renal blood flow. Bradykinin and nitric oxide produce vasodilatation and increase renal blood flow. Now, peculiarities of renal circulation. First, that is renal arteries are branches of abdominal aorta. Pressure in the aorta is very high and therefore high renal blood flow, that is important for the renal functions. Second, blood is completely filtered when it passes through the glomerular capillaries. Kidneys, they have portal system, double network of capillaries, glomerular capillaries and peritubular capillaries. Next is autoregulation of blood flow. Renal blood flow is autoregulated between the blood pressure of 60 to 180 mm of mercury. Kidney has two pressure bed, high pressure bed that is in the glomerular capillaries. The pressure is 60 to 70 mm of mercury, which is important for filtration, and low pressure bed that is of peritubular capillaries. The pressure is 8 to 10 mm of mercury, which is important for reabsorption. Measurement of renal blood flow. It is measured by electromagnetic flow meter, or indirectly it is measured by para-aminohippuric acid clearance test. Renal plasma flow and blood flow are measured by this method. It is by Fick's principle. We can measure the amount of given substance taken by the kidney per unit period of time and divide it by arteriovenous difference of the substance. That is Fick's principle. So this is all about renal blood flow. Thank you.